Do you know someone who has autism who has trouble flying on planes? If so, this video is for you because we're going to be talking about how to have an autism-friendly flight so that that person can have a safe and enjoyable flight. And I'm Craig Kahn, I've got it going on, and this is TeamAutismpedia, where we're dedicated to educating you about autism, how you can improve the lives of people with autism. If you're interested in this type of content, please consider subscribing so you can get our latest videos. Someone with autism, flying on a plane is a very scary thing it can be. Because, think about it. There's a lot of things that are different. It's a different environment. You're in a confined environment. You may feel a little bit differently. And it's just so different from what you're used to. So it may be a good idea to figure out how you can make it an easier process for someone who has autism. I'm talking about more severe autism where they don't understand what's going on as much. So I'm going to give you 5 tips that you can look at trying to do that will hopefully help someone who you know who has autism so they can have a better trip. The first tip is that you should try contacting the airline and see if they have something that you can actually try boarding the plane sometime before your real flight so that you can actually get your child used to the concept of that they're going to be going on a plane and what it is. When you do something once before, it will be a lot less scary and your child will be able to do it a lot more easier. Second tip is try to look at seeing if you can get pre-boarding. Pre-boarding helps a lot of people who may already have difficulty boarding a plane when everyone else is, the elderly, people with children and all that. And unfortunately, the idea of people with disabilities getting on before is not always something that people think about, but it probably will be something that they may do. And if you ask them and try to make that in advance, then you can have an easier boarding where you don't have to deal with everyone else trying to get on with your child, where you may have a struggle with getting your child into the seat and all that. The third tip is looking at what kind of in-flight accommodations that an airline may have. Those may be many different things. One thing could be allowing you to switch during the flight seats, or even making sure that you'll have the same seats as next to the person you have who has autism. Also, some airlines may have bigger seats specifically for people who have autism. So just contact the airline before and try to find out what they have so that you can know and you can get the best flight for the person you're traveling with. Number 4 is look at what information they have online. A number of airlines will probably tell you a little bit of information that you can look at online, and I can tell you some of the other things I already mentioned if they mention it. Sometimes they won't, but sometimes they will, and that can help you figure out which airline you want to go on with someone with autism. The 5th piece of advice is that you need to just tell the airline that you have someone who has autism. Because if you don't ask, then you can't get any help. And even though it may not seem like it's a great situation that people put in, they'll more often try to help you if you tell them, and it will be a lot less strange for them to see what you may be going through if they already know in advance. So for flights and any other situations that you think you may have any problems with, tell people in advance so that you don't have to have as much problems when you actually deal with it when the situations come up. So I hope this video helps you out and you now have some new ideas, and I'd like to know if any of those ideas really struck you and you really liked any. And if you aren't already, please consider subscribing, and so that you can get our latest videos. Because we're dedicated to educating you about autism, how you can improve the lives of people with autism.